Hello everyone, thank you for coming up today. My old subscribers, thank you. And to those that are viewing for the first time or that have not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. And to my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please do not forget to hit on the like button. Wonders, friends, is said shall never end. This is a pastor known as Reverend Dr. Success. He owns a church in Owerri, Imo State, Nigeria, and the name of the church is Life Transformation Praying Ministry. However, he was into a relationship with a lady known as Chioma. They have been dating each other for the past 5 years. Last year, they got engaged, that's in 2020, and started planning their wedding. Chioma is 32 years old. And while they were planning this marriage, this lady became pregnant. This wasn't what they actually wanted. They wanted to have the wedding free of pregnancy. As a pastor, definitely he would not want that. It would not seem so well with him. Almost close to the wedding, they realized that this pregnancy will be showing as of the time the date was fixed for the wedding. But the pastor didn't want the baby as he knows that the church would frown at anyone getting pregnant before marriage. And him being the pastor should lead by example. And that was what he was trying to avoid. And that would also damage his reputation as the pastor in the church. Meanwhile, the pastor tried all he could to ensure that this pregnancy would not be revealed on their wedding day. And what did he do? He now gave Chioma a drink. He dosed this drink with a particular drug. When he did that, she became unconscious. See the extent this guy had to go, unknown to him what the outcome would be. After he realized that she was unconscious, he now took her to a hospital and asked the doctor to terminate the pregnancy. But upon seeing her condition and the situation at which she came into the hospital, the doctor said he didn't want to carry out any abortion on this lady. He saw that it was going to be dangerous, that wasn't the right time to carry out an abortion because her condition didn't seem okay for that kind of a treatment to be admitted on her. But the pastor, now fearing for his life and being afraid of his reputation, because that was what he placed first in front of him, his reputation and what the church members would look or say and how they would frown at him, he insisted and told his doctor that the doctor must terminate this pregnancy, that it's not a pregnancy that is actually needed for both of them. And so since he insisted, the doctor now proceeded with this particular surgery on this lady. But while he was doing this, Chioma, that's the fiancé, started vomiting blood. The doctor now advised the reverend that he should please take this lady away from his hospital and take her to FMC in Owerri there so that she can get the adequate treatment she needs before anything bad happens. The reverend actually listened to the doctor and he rushed her to FMC and he registered her there in the hospital with a different name. That is another thing that is being questioned. Why are you registering her in a different name when you already know that her name is Chioma? But that wasn't what was in the record. And as soon as he registered her in the hospital and took her to the FMC, he now called her family to come to the hospital that Chioma fell ill. He didn't tell the family members what really transpired. While the family was rushing there and the reverend was still there and standing saying that Chioma is ill, the family should rush. Unfortunately, before the family could get there, Chioma passed away. This is really, really sad. Look at, in the verge of trying to cover up his reputation or safeguard his reputation and what the church would think, has now led to the death of this young, beautiful lady. Look at how pretty she is. Meanwhile, the parents did something that would surprise a lot of people. Before then, they now had to take the daughter for an autopsy so as to know exactly what kind of illness killed their daughter, because they were not approving with what the reverend had told them, that she died of an ailment. But from what the doctors were giving them, it was different from the way the fiance, that the reverend, had presented it to the family. And during the autopsy, it showed that their daughter was drugged. That was found in her system, which eventually they had to confront the pastor, and he confessed that he tried to perform an abortion on Chioma, his fiancée, while she was unconscious before taking her to the hospital. And after being presented with the autopsy result, the pastor said that this was what really happened, that he was the one who administered the drug to her. But unfortunately, it ended up in death, and that wasn't what he wanted. That was not what he planned. He felt so bad and so sorry that Chioma had passed away, that all he wanted was just to terminate the pregnancy so that Chioma and himself can have a wedding free of what the church members would accuse him of, that he's really asking for their forgiveness with regards to the death of their daughter, who was his fiancée and wife to be. But what I said, but the family did something that would shock a lot of people. The family insisted that he must get married to Chioma's corpse, that Chioma must be buried as a married woman and not a single lady, because she was preparing to get married to him before, unfortunately, his act on her took the life of their own daughter. They had to carry out a wedding ceremony with the corpse. This is the pastor that you're seeing there, and he married Chioma. She was actually buried on Tuesday. She was buried yesterday in Umuahia, Abia State. And you can see also from her obituary, they wrote Mrs. Success Chioma. That is, she is now bearing the pastor's name. Her other son name has been taken away, and the son name she's bearing now is Sunday. So Success is also the name of the pastor, and Sunday is also the name of the pastor, indicating that she was a married woman before she passed away. You can see also on the obituary, the signature that you're seeing there is not the signature of her family. Rather, it is the signature of the pastor, that is Professor Reverend Success Sunday. That is the name you are seeing on the obituary there. Family members say that churches still call on Reverend Sunday to even preach in church. He is still a theology teacher at the Bethel Seminary in Owerri. So you see how this lady passed away. She just died, unfortunately, as a result of this pastor placing his reputation in front of him rather than placing the lady's life in front of him. Why carry out an abortion on a woman you even want to get married to? Friends, what do you all think? Would it have been better if this pastor had allowed his church members to criticize him, call him all manner of names, and yet he knows that he's expecting his first child from a woman you're about getting married to? Isn't that the worst thing they would do, is to talk at him and lash at him? Meanwhile, his wife and his child are alive and okay. But now 2 lives are lost, because the baby in the womb, unborn baby, and then the life of the woman he proposed to get married to. This is what happens to people that listen to the society. People that are more concerned about what happens or what the society think about them or what people would say. This is how they end up. This is how this reverend has ended up taking the life of this lady and the innocent child. All because he's more concerned about what his members would say, how they'll frown at him, and all accusations they would lay before him. It's not better that his reputation is destroyed and then the life of these 2 people are maintained? But look at now, 2 lives lost, all for what people would say. This will go out there to a lot of people. So many people out there are living fake lives because of what people would say, rather than being concerned of the consequences of your action because you want to please people. In the end, you would end up losing a whole lot of things. This reverend is regretting his actions right now, but he can't bring back the life of Chioma and his unborn baby. Babies are blessing. One, this is a woman you're about getting married to. The deed has already been done. It has happened. They didn't want it, but it happened that she got pregnant. Why don't you accept your faith? Why don't you accept it that way, that the mistake has already been done? Why don't you allow this lady to have this baby? It would have been better if they had even rushed the wedding and shifted it forward, since they didn't want anybody to know that the lady was pregnant. Then shift it forward before the pregnancy would pop up open for people to see. Then marry this lady, and for that reason you know that you have covered the reputation you have been safeguarding, because that was the only thing that was in this pastor's head, his reputation. I think for someone like this, it's better you tell people you've shifted the wedding date, and if they ask you, reasons best known to you and your wife, and then you get married to her. You know that fine, you're now married, and then this pregnancy is being seen as, for you and your congregation, is being seen as legal because that is what he had on mind. But now you decided to please the members of your church and take the lives of these innocent people, the baby in her womb and then the wife to be. It's so sad that Chioma lost her life like this. Also, Chioma did not want to terminate the pregnancy. She wanted to carry the baby. And that was why when the pastor mentioned it, was not anywhere moved by what the church would think about her being pregnant before their wedding. If only the pastor had listened to Chioma that they should leave this pregnancy alone, this wouldn't have happened. But he now went out of his way. He went extra mile. Imagine someone unconscious and then you are carrying out an abortion on an unconscious person. What are you expecting? Definitely there's no how this woman would have survived it, because unconscious person is someone like almost half dead, and then you want to carry out a surgery that it's usually called matter of life and death. Some people have gone in for abortion and they never came out alive. And this is what this man risked this lady's life to go and do. Please, if you're out there and you're more concerned about what the society thinks, remember one thing. Whatever happens to you, the society would not care at the end. You'll be out to please them at that time. What about the aftermath consequences? Little did Reverend know that Chioma was going to die. He'd never anticipated that. He was in shock, and that was why he was still asking for the family to forgive him, because he never intended to take her life away from her. All he wanted was to get rid of the pregnancy so that they can have a wedding free of curses and insults from his church members. The truth about life is this: however you try to please people, you can never please them. Now, the same church members will still call him names. He has now killed this lady because it was his act that killed this lady. You were avoiding your reputation being tarnished, but this is the worst way of tarnishing your image as a human being, as a reverend. Killing someone is worse than marrying someone with pregnancy, because you just took a life that can never be recovered again. 2 lives taken in one day, all for the sake of trying to please your church members. These same church members you're trying to please, how have they helped him now? That is another thing people should put into consideration. You are out there to please the society, to please people. When anything goes wrong, will any of them be there to help you? No. To make matters worse, people that are even close to you, when things turn out bad, they will run away and they will not want to identify themselves with you. Think twice before you take decisions of trying to please people out there. He who wears the shoes knows where it's pinching him. Always put that at the back of your mind while you're trying to make people happy, especially people that don't matter in your life directly. If only this reverend had even consulted her family members or even some of the elders in the church, if he felt so embarrassed about it, he would have talked to some of the elders and let them know that they didn't plan this pregnancy, but it just happened. And so he would still marry the lady and he would keep the pregnancy. Probably that would have eased off some sort of frown and mouth saying from people in his church. But you know what? It will never stop people from talking and making all manner of comments. But now he will receive worse comment than he would have received if he had taken this lady quietly to go and get married to her. Then, if you know that you didn't want her to get pregnant, why carry out acts that would lead to pregnancy? On the other hand, he has a big blame for her getting pregnant. You know that your church will frown at it. You know that people would not want that at all in the church. Then why get her pregnant? You wouldn't have allowed anything that would lead to pregnancy happen. You wouldn't have allowed this lady to get pregnant by avoiding any act that would lead to pregnancy. If he should have abstained completely, then that's when we'll know that he was serious about not wanting this lady to get pregnant. You didn't abstain and you knew back in your head, you knew in your mind that you didn't want this lady to get pregnant. Yet, you were involved in acts that would lead to pregnancy. You see how some people are being selfish. He was thinking about himself, not thinking about the lady's life. If only he had thought of the lady's life, I'm sure he wouldn't have carried out this abortion, knowing that abortion is something that it's a matter of life and death. It's either you come out alive or it's either the person never comes out alive. He should have put the lady into consideration as well and not just his reputation. If you're there, you're dating someone and you know fully well this is not what you want, avoid acts that will lead into this so as to avoid endangering other people's daughters' lives. Because now this family has lost their lovely daughter, all because of this guy's thought of trying to safeguard his own reputation. May the soul of Chioma rest in peace with the Lord, and may Almighty God console her entire family members, friends, well-wishers, and everybody that knew her. May God console them all. It's such a pity that she lost her life because she never wanted this abortion to happen, but he forcefully carried out this abortion, and in the end, Chioma never lived to carry her baby. It's really sad. Please be very conscious of the kind of people you date. The Reverend was more concerned about himself and not about Chioma. I think the thing of love has to be placing each other in your mind and having to place what if for both of you and not placing the what if for yourself alone. Ask questions. What if I do this? How will the outcome be? How will it affect my fiancé and how will it affect me? Once you put both of you, once you put yourself and your partner in picture, I'm sure people would relent or pull back from carrying out certain acts like this. You would put the person's life into consideration as well before deciding about your reputation or thinking about your reputation. Friends, what do you all think regarding this? Also, have family members insisting that he must get married to the cops. Do you think that that was the right thing for them to do? And do you think it's better that she was buried as a married person? Also, the pastor thinking of his reputation, do you also think that was the best decision for him to take? Please, whatever you feel about this, you could put that down at the comment section. And you can see that the family of this lady has been so nice to the point that they didn't arrest this man. In another situation, some people will get him arrested for murder because this is a case of murder. Taking the life of their daughter is not something that anyone should ever want for their child. But here he is. He's even still preaching in that same church, and he is still one of the teachers in the seminary. You can see how God's mercy works, and you can see how the family of this lady were so merciful to this reverend. Friends, thank you for coming up today. Please don't forget to hit on the like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. Thank you. God bless you all.